Hello, Tom. We're out for a day, just a day trip out to Sydney, which is, they call it Sydney by the Sea. And we're right here. I'll show you on the map where we are. We're just on Lockside Drive, about where my finger is. It's quite lovely along here, as you will see. Lots of people playing sports here. There's a big children's playground. It was all done a few years ago and it's really nice. And they keep it really nice. A lot of these places get so scruffy after a while, but they keep this one up really good. Sydney is at the main port here. When you come from Vancouver, you come in from Vancouver. It's just outside Sydney. That's where all the ferries come in. There's 2 or 3 places where they come in, but this is probably the biggest one and the most traffic for ferries. And looking way over there, you'll be looking just about at the United States. I mean, I can't quite pick out the United States, but the United States, I don't know if you can see behind the mountain that's going down, that one there, a bit like a turtle. Right behind it is Mount Baker, and I'm not sure if you can see the outline. It's very faint. We have a lot of smoke coming up from the States. They have these forest fires again and bush fires. Well, that's the States there. And then where that sailboat is with the blue sail, there's a sandbar there, and people take a ferry out or take their own boats out and they swim there. Very nice. And that's Sydney Island. And if you come around here, there's another island there. That island there, that's called James Island. There's actually a full-size golf course privately owned on there by the Craig McCall, one of the McCall brothers, who had a huge telecom, mobile phone and internet company. Oh, I'm going back probably 20 years. They had this and they sold it to AT&T, and I heard it was for $4.5 billion at the time, or maybe more. And they, of course, made a fortune. But he bought this island and put a house on it. It's heavily guarded. They've all got Hummers and you can't get near it. But then you go around here, there's a big beach down there, a big sandy beach with logs on, very nice. And then you come right round here to where we are. And if I can get up on these rocks here, I can show you down the part here. Bit of a climb up here. There. Again, we don't have much sand, as I said before. But this. Oh, here we go. Interesting. The airport's right here too. I'll get that. There we go. As you couldn't hear anyhow, you might as well see it. So that's probably just a small flight going over to Vancouver, I would think. It could be going to Calgary or Edmonton, but he'll stop in Vancouver. But I was telling you, there was the rocks down here, and it goes quite a ways. There's really no sand. It's pretty well pebbles. There may be at the very far end a little bit of sand where kids can play in, but very pleasant. Sydney's they based it a bit on Hay-on-Wye. I don't know if you're familiar with Hay-on-Wye, in the edge of the Brecon Beacons in Herefordshire. Hay-on-Wye is famous for books. It's got the largest second-hand bookshop in the world. It's full of bookshops. And a man called Clive Tanner, who was quite big here in Sydney, was into books. He had Tanner's Bookshop. Well, he was inspired by Hay-on-Wye, and he's done a lot of shops, second-hand books here. So the town is full of bookshops. But I don't think it's anywhere near as successful as Hay-on-Wye. So that's it for this part of Sydney. I'm here at the other end of Sydney now, which is the real touristy end. There's a lovely old fish market here, which they were going to pull down here a while ago. The local new council decided it wasn't safe anymore after about 100 years, and they wanted it gone. And there was a revolt in this town, and they won. The people of the town of Sydney said, we're not losing our heritage fish market, so it was kept. Beautiful condos here. They cost a fortune. Literally anywhere from 6 to 8 million. This one on the end here belonged to a friend of mine, and he bought it 10 years ago, maybe 12, paid 1.5 million for it, and it was sold for about 6. So yeah, it's quite amazing. Then here's that little spit that I showed you before, and you can see it better from here. Where that sailboat is out there is where the sandbar is. And they leave from here, there's a little jetty here, they leave on a little ferry from there and go out to it. Lots of flowers as always in this part of the country. I'm about to walk down the main street, which is here. And I will turn the camera off, and I'll maybe turn it back on again if I see something that's nice to see. All right. I just stopped on my way home from Sydney at the top of the Malahat. I used to live up here. This was the view I had from my house basically years ago. But I'm going to show you where we were. In a minute I zoom in here, you see where all those buildings are over. That's Sydney, and that's where we were doing the video in the town there. But now I'm up on the top of the Malahat. It's not quite the highest point, but it's quite high. And we swing around, and that is what I forget the name of the little island now. It's a little religious island for the native tribes here. Sananas Island, I think that's what they call it. Yeah, Sananas. And swings around. Of course, we're into the trees here. They used to keep this all cut down, and you get a really good view. But that is Brentwood Bay over there. Zoom back. But very beautiful. And this is about as good as you're going to get it here. In the very distance, those first few islands you see are Canada. And the further away I get, so the mountains in the very background, that is the US. Where it gets quite pale in colours, where the US starts. The darker islands, the darker headland there is all Canada. I was hoping we might see an eagle fly here, but you quite often see them here, especially now the salmon's coming in. And the far distance you can see the snow. That's over by Vancouver way over there. Too bad no eagles. I was really hoping you might get something flying by here. We do have an observatory up top of the hill here. You can see that white ball up there. That's a big telescope they have. Oh, there's something flying down. I don't know if you can see it above the water. Something fairly big. I can't really see it. I can see it with the naked eye. I'm not sure if you can see it flying. Yeah, there's two of them. And I think that's eagles. There's two eagles flying down there. I hope you can see them. Oh, there's 3 of them down there. There's 4. Oh, there's a stack of them down there. Yeah, there must be some fish. They're waiting for fish. Because of course the salmon are coming in now. Oh, there's lots of eagles. Look at that.